In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to use the user relationship tool from BotTools. Now, this extension has a lot of different use cases that you can use it for, but in this video, I'm going to be showing you one simple scenario I think that everybody could pretty much use this tool for. Now, before I go ahead and show you the flow and the ManyChat setup, I'm just going to give you a quick explanation to what this tool can actually do for you, and then hopefully you can think of some other imaginative ways that you can use the tool in scenarios that best suit your use case. So the way that I find the best to explain this tool is that you're going to be able to gain free subscribers to your ManyChat account by asking your subscribers to share something to their Facebook profile. Now, this thing that they're sharing to their Facebook profile is a growth tool from your ManyChat account, like a ref URL. Now, when they share this to their Facebook profile, like you've seen many things shared to a Facebook profile before, you can have an image, a description, a header, all of these different options. You're able to set all of this inside of the tool just to make sure that you're aware of it. Now that this user has gone ahead and shared this post to their Facebook profile, you can now reward them for doing so. So this extension is going to get a confirmation that this user has posted that growth tool to their Facebook profile so that their friends can then click it, and it will give them confirmation and congratulate them, and this would be a good time for you potentially to reward them. Now, what happens next is that because that post is up on the Facebook profile, this means that their friends are going to be able to click this, and this will now enter them into the chatbot, giving you free subscribers. Now, for every unique subscriber that clicks that link on that first user who posted it to their profile, that is going to give them a point. And you're going to be able to display a leaderboard to who has the most amount of points inside of your ManyChat bot to any of the users that decide to enter and share the growth tool to their Facebook profile. Now, you're not only limited to share onto Facebook profile as an option to be able to give out an offer or a growth tool to someone's friends in one of your audience members of your ManyChat account. You're also going to be able to share onto Messenger. Now, if you decide to use the share to Messenger option, it's very easy to do so. All you're going to do is have an image with a button below, and you're going to ask the users in your ManyChat bot if they can forward this image onto some of the other users inside of their friends lists. Now, when they click send, this will then send the image and a button that will then take them to the growth tool, and it will then give them the option when they enter into there about having an offer, or them themselves then sharing the offer to their Facebook profile post, or to share it to other friends they have in Messenger. So all in all, the best way to kind of think about this is something that you're going to be able to give your users to share out there. Their friends and their acquaintances are then going to be able to click onto this item that they're sharing, gaining free subscribers for you, and you're going to be able to offer to your users a leaderboard for them to be able to oversee who has the most if you wanted to push incentivization in some parts of your chatbot. So let's get started with how you're going to be able to set up this tool for your ManyChat chatbot. Now, the first thing you're going to need is a BotTools account, and you're going to create a user relationship extension. Once you've created this extension, the first thing that it's going to show you is the general settings. Now, the general settings tab is very easy for you to be able to set up. I'm going to show you the exact setup that I've used for this ManyChat flow example that I'm using in this video. Now, the parent, identification from the parent, okay? Now, this I have selected as to be the user ID system field. Okay, this is an identification, this is their user ID number, and we're going to have this to identify who is the parent, okay? And then on the parent identification, this is almost on the child, and to understand this kind of parent and child complex I'm kind of putting there, the parent is the person who shared onto their Facebook post, and the people who click it are then the children. So we need identification for who is the parent, this is the user ID, and we need identification on the children to identify the number that was on the user ID onto this user field here. Now, this user field that I'm speaking about is parent ID inside of this example that I'm using. Now, once you've gone ahead and you've basically set this up with user ID and parent ID, you're then going to copy the URL just from here, sorry, the URL rule. You're then going to go over to your ManyChat account and you're going to set up 3 different rules. Now you've got parent ID has changed to any value, parent ID has changed to 0, and parent ID has changed and is empty. You need to set up all 3 of these rules, okay? And just to point out to you, just because I want to make sure you're clear, parent ID is the same user field that we have also selected here. You need to make sure that that is set up. Now, once you've gone ahead and set up those rules, what you're going to do is that you're going to paste that URL that you got in the corner, just to point out where that button is, just here. So that button there, you're going to paste that into the URL here. You're then going to come over to the body, you're going to click onto add full subscriber data and then click save, okay? And that's it. You are all done for the first part of setting up the user relationship tool. Now, the next part you're going to need to set up is your growth tool. Now, the growth tool is a ref URL growth tool, as you can see here. And inside of setting up this growth tool, we need to save to the payload here a user field. And in my example, I'm using temp parent ID. Okay, so this is not the same user field that you would have inside of the general settings that we just finished. This was parent ID. Okay, so we have parent ID and then we have temp parent ID just here. Once you've gone ahead and set this up, you're then going to be able to move on over to this flow. This is what the ref URL then triggers. So what we first have inside of this flow, to point out to you, is temp parent ID is user ID. The reason that we go ahead and set this up is, imagine that I posted onto my Facebook profile, or I got the image with the button underneath for the share to messenger option, and I decided to click my own button, trying to give myself a point for myself clicking it. This would then identify that I'm actually clicking on my own link, and from here it will just say don't click on your own link, as this is a simple example to show you. How this is set up is because of the temp parent ID has the value of the user ID, and if it does do this, we are then saying to them don't click the link, and if it doesn't, we are then setting the parent ID value, which will then trigger the rule for saying this is a unique person from the value of the temporary parent ID. So this is just a very quick check just to make sure that people are not clicking onto their own links, and this is how you're going to be able to complete this. Now we're going to move back over to BotTools now, and we're going to move to the second part, which is called transfer custom field. Now what this is going to be able to do is that when I posted onto my profile about the link for people to then join, and when my friends then joined, this is going to be able to, that when they come into the chatbot flow, we are then going to be able to say to them, hey, you just clicked the link from your friends. So we're going to be able to give them a more relatable message inside of the chatbot. Doing this just makes it a little bit more friendly, a bit more nicer for your users. It's a really nice little feature you can use essentially just to be able to pass over values that were from the parent person who posted onto their profile to the children, the people who then clicked the link of the person who got shared to. Now in this nice easy example I set up for you, what we're doing is we're just checking has this user field got any value, and this is called parent name. Now if I come back over to here, you can see that we're basically saying in BotTools that we want parent name to have the value of the first name of the parent. So this is the parent, okay, so this is the person who shared onto their profile their first name, and we want this value to then be populated into this user field called parent name, which we identify as the client, okay, the child, okay. So all we're going to do is that once we've basically set this up, okay, you're then going to be able to click this link just here, and in doing this, what you're then going to do is come back over to your ManyChat account. Oop, my ManyChat account sometimes does this, zooms in and out. One of these little bugs that ManyChat has. But once you've gone ahead and copied that link, what you're going to be able to do is to paste this into an external request. And you can see that I've done this just here after this condition. The reason why is, let's imagine that the brand, the actual Facebook page, the client has gone ahead and posted the ref URL themselves on their own Facebook channel, or even they're just posting it inside of ads. Now, we don't, when they click that, we don't want them to see a message saying, hey, we just saw you click the link from a friend's name, when they didn't, they clicked it from the business. This is why on this negative line, if there is no value, then what we're going to do is we're then going to give them a more generic message that is basically saying, thank you for clicking the link to join a rewards program. And in this one, we have then said, hey, your parent's name, which is your friend's name. And the way that we were able to transfer that was this little block here just beforehand. So we copied the link from over here on BotTools. Once you've set up all of the different fields that you want to pass back and forth, just to point out that you can also change the arrow direction as well if you want to transfer something from the client to the parent or the parent to the client. Okay, but just to come back, you're going to copy the URL. You're going to paste that URL into here. You're then going to go to body, click onto add full subscriber data, and then save it. This is then going to trigger BotTools to then say, hey, we need to give this user field the name of the person that they clicked onto. So now that we've welcomed the user to the chatbot, we're now going to ask them to then share something to their Facebook profile. Now, this inside of this part of this bot here, we want to move on to this action and this part of the post here. Now, the first thing is this action. Now, this action, I'm going to come back to this in a minute, because this is really, really, really cool on how you can make something really dynamic when something is shared to the Facebook profile of your user. Now you can see here inside of this, I'm basically saying, hey, we need you to share something to your Facebook account. And I basically added a little bit of copy here saying, if you get X amount of people to click that link that you share to your Facebook account, then you get points, okay? And then you need to click here to share this link, okay? Now we need to make this link. This link is created by going to the next part of BotTools. So what you're first going to do is you've got this part here where you can select either a growth tool or an open other URL. Now we're going to select growth tool, and when you come to growth tool, this will then give you all the growth tools that you have inside of your ManyChat account. I'm going to go with shared growth tool. Okay, this being the growth tool that is shared. I then have the title of what's going to be on the Facebook post, which in this one is click here to claim offer. And then afterwards we have the description. Now this description, I haven't written this in manually. I've set this with a user field. This user field is called description, and you can see that I can click here and then select any of the user fields from my ManyChat account. Now if I click description and I come back over to my ManyChat account, we just jump back into this action here. We're going to set this user field called description to first name, last name, just claimed an offer. Okay, so what this is doing is it's going to pull in the name of the person and set that to be the description when it is then shared to this person's Facebook profile, making it that little extra bit dynamic, so it makes it a little bit more relatable to their friends that are then going to click onto this profile. Obviously you can also do this with the title, and the image you can either set manually or again via a user field or a bot field, okay? But inside of here I've gone for manual, and you can select your image, upload your images as you can see here, select the one that you want to go with. I've gone with this Black Friday design. And then afterwards you need to start a flow for once they've posted this to their Facebook profile. In this one it's the congratulations flow. I can come here and you can see these are all my flows from my ManyChat account. So once you've gone ahead and you set up the preferences for your share to Facebook part, what you're going to need to do is to click onto copy URL. You're then going to come back over to your ManyChat account. You're going to come to the button that is going to ask them to then share this to their Facebook profile, and you're going to copy and paste that in there for the website button. And then this is all over. Your users are going to be able to share that post that you've designed here onto their Facebook profile. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. Now, in this part of the video, I'm going to show you what it looks like when I share something to my Facebook profile. I'm going to share the image and the growth tool that I just shared before, that we showed you in when we were setting it up. So you can see here on my phone, if I just click onto the share button, it then comes up over to the browser for me to then post this onto my Facebook profile. So you can see that is the image just there. The only thing that I need to do is just to be able to write a post up here if I wanted to. I can also choose to share this onto my story, and all I need to do is then click post. Now remember, once I click post, this is then going to click into BotTools to then tell BotTools to send a flow because I actually posted it onto my profile. So you can now see that I'm getting the congratulations flow, which I'll show you what this looks like on my profile, on my ManyChat account now. So this thank you, congratulations message is really simple, as you can see. I'm not trying to overcomplicate things in this video. I just want to make sure you have a full understanding of the 4 sections of the user relationship extension. So inside of here, I'm basically just saying to the user, congratulations on posting. Here is your reward, to which then I've just used an image to show you a reward. And at this point here, they can then claim and redeem their reward however they seem fit. Afterwards, I'm saying to them, hey, click here to see how many friends took you up on your offer, and you can see the leaderboard. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to set up the leaderboard over on BotTools. So you're going to click onto the leaderboard tab up here, and this is so simple to go ahead and do. All you're going to need to do is to click onto copy URL up here in the corner, and you're then going to post that into the button link just here, as you can see. So paste that in, and that is how your user is going to be able to access the leaderboard, to which I'll show you what this looks like on my phone just now. So here you can see the leaderboard. I click the button and it comes up and it shows me, because I'm the only person inside of this demo right now, you can see that I have Rupert and I have 12 people that have clicked onto my link. So this can also be extended with extra user fields to incentivize them if you want to also track extra metrics inside of your chatbot. So let me show you how you're going to be able to do this. All you're going to do is when you come over to the leaderboard, you're going to be able to name the column, and then you're going to be able to select a user field. So I'm just going to select something that I know that has a value. That's just going to be the random number tool. And now if I come back over to my phone and I click back onto the leaderboard, you can now see that I've also got the metric of 9, and that is the user field value for the random number tool that I have. This could be used for potentially also incentivizing this user to track the amount of redemptions that that one of their friends has taken them up on an offer that they gained access to. Now, at the very end of this chatbot flow, what we have is an image and some instructions to say, hey, if you forward on this image to your friends and tell them to click the button claim reward, then you're also going to gain those points on the leaderboard. Now, the way that you set this up and the way that your user would use it is just like this. So your user is going to click onto that forward button just on the side, and then they're going to have the option to then share this over to anybody they have in their Messenger account. Okay, so you can simply click share just like this, and then it is sent that image over to them. Now, once that's done, if that person were to click onto that claim reward button, that would then be added as a point onto my points on the leaderboard, giving me more incentivization to get more users for your ManyChat account. Now, to be able to set up this image, it's very easy. Obviously, all you need to do is you need to set up an image element, and then you're just going to add a button. Now, inside of this button, it's very simple what you need to do. All you're going to do is you're going to get the growth tool that you used at the very start, okay, which is just over here, and you're going to copy that URL. Now, once you've copied that URL, you're then going to come back over, you're going to paste that URL just here. You're then going to go minus minus and then add user ID. So what this is basically the growth tool to come in, and we're identifying the user ID and that is going to be saved to the payload, which was temporary parent ID. And this works exactly the same way as the URL that was just shared onto that user's Facebook account. Now, thank you very much for taking the time to go through this extension. It is very, very, very cool in so many ways for different types of marketing. Now, thank you very much for taking the time to go through this video and to learn about the user relationship extension. If you do have any questions, or if you have any ideas of other tools that you would like to be added to BotTools, please get in touch with us. We're always happy to hear about new ideas and maybe some way that we can fix a little bit of a problem that you're having with your ManyChat account and make it potentially that tiny bit more simpler for you to get on with other jobs that you have in your day that is not building complicated chatbots.